As we know, planning is a pervasive function. This function is done in the organization as a whole, or it can be done in the form of department wise or divisional wise. And this organizational planning is mostly focusing on top management, and it is always a long term nature. So we try to plan for a long time, and the planning is the original one, and it energizes. That is the purpose why the planning is being done. It is only for the benefit of the organization. So it focuses on the goals or objective of the organization, and it tries to motivate. So the motivation, as it is essential for all the employees, so this planning will always be looking into the motivational factors of all the employees. Then this planning, as I told you, is a process. So it is a management process which is more concerned with the goals. So whatever the goal the company has, that is the vision and mission of the company, and it is trying to forecast, or the direction is only future oriented, and it tries to determine the mission and the resources. So how they are going to achieve this target, the target achievement, or the ways or the steps involved in achieving this process. It tries to meet out the objectives, and mostly the managers, the divisional managers or department managers, they help in achieving these objectives, and it can be a business plan or a marketing plan. So planning mainly focuses on uncertainty. So it tries to, when we have a plan, it tries to reduce uncertainty. Then it brings in coordination and cooperation. So when the planning process or the planning is well defined, and as I told you, it is a goal oriented, so it focuses on cooperation and coordination between the employees, or between the departments, or between the divisions involved in the organization. And by choosing the alternatives, so planning steps involves the various alternatives. It focuses on various alternatives and how to select the alternative. So we have various alternatives, plan 1, plan 2, plan 3 or plan 4. So based on the weightages, what are the pros and cons of each alternative, we can choose the alternative, and it always predicts the uncertainty, or it always anticipates the uncertainty. It is based on the predetermined goal. So this goal is connected to the vision and mission of the company, and all the activity what is done in planning is always focusing or tries to achieve the predetermined goal which is set by the organization. Now we will look into the classification of planning. So the planning is being classified based on the hierarchy. So as far as the hierarchy is concerned, we have pre-classification. So first with the top level planning, or a middle level planning, or lower level planning. So when we talk about top level planning, it is also called as corporate planning. When we talk about corporate planning, it covers the entire organization. It is a comprehensive process, and it focuses on the long-term objective of the organization, and it is always interconnected, interdependent, and it is carried out inside the organization. So when you talk about corporate planning, it always focuses on the growth, research and development. Sometimes it can be for the focusing on modernization, or example expansion of the business firm, or it can even focus on the diversification, merger or acquisition. So this top level planning always focuses on top management, and this particular planning is based on the long-term goal. So it is based on the objective, and middle level planning are also called as a functional planning. Here we are talking about the different departments. So each department we have, like for example, purchase, production, marketing, human resource, or finance, or other functional areas. So we have different departments, and this middle level planning always tries to determine the objective the policies and programs what the different department has to do or different functions to be performed in the organization. So that is why we call it as a functional planning. And this plan is made with the help of the top level plans. So it is having connectivity with the top level plan. This particular middle level plan always focuses on smooth functioning of the organization or the department, each department, so that the corporate plans are accomplished in a successful way. How it is done? It is done through the each department heads, and they have a review and they will check whether the plan has been attained. So this helps in attaining the corporate planning. Then regarding the third level of planning with respect to hierarchy is a lower level planning. This planning we can even call it as sectional planning, as this is more associated with the functional domain. So if you talk about planning for each department, like each unit, we are talking about specific, that is what is to be the work. So they give a work plan, that is day-to-day activities, and how this human force is to do that. So we give a guidance in each department. This helps to determine the work, what is to be done, the duties to be performed, or the instructions. So we give the instructions, specific instructions, how it has to be done, and the work schedule, so timing, like all those things. Then how they have to arrange the tools or how to get the raw materials. All these things are being done under lower level management. Then moving on to the classification based on scope, we have a strategic planning, tactical planning, and operational planning. So the strategic planning is taking place, which is more relevant to the competitive world now. There is a competitive environment, and this is more essential for the success of the organization. So it focuses on the strategic plan. So how this is to be done, and it is by what they do is they try to formulate the goal. What is the goal? And they go for environmental scanning. Then what are the resources available? So they try to go for resource assessment. So what is the resource available? And they go for SWOT. So here SWOT refers to the strength, weakness, and opportunities and threat. So strategic planning tries to analyze the SWOT of the particular thing, so that we try to analyze and give equal weightage. So we'll know the strength or outcomes and what are the shortcomings they have, what are the opportunities and what are the threats. And it tries to evaluate the alternatives, and when it finds everything is on fine tune, then we'll try to observe the particular strategy. So that is with respect to strategic planning. Then tactical planning, when we talk about strategy, it is more a broader term. Tactical planning is a narrower term. What here is done is we have a plan which is more focusing on the short term, that is for 1 or 2 years. So they quite often change this plan with the exchange environment. So when there is a change in the environment, tactical planning will be changing. It mainly focuses on the sub goals. So the sub goals are being focused on the tactical planning, and the persons who are involved in this tactical planning or the middle level managers, and they always think about the internal environment. So this planning is more focusing on the coordination with respect to different departments and the diverse activity. So if you are going, for example, when you try to develop a new product, so what is done is the production department tries to have a tactical planning, that is what is to be the design of the new product, how they are going to test the product, what about the QC, that is a quality control, and how they are going to install the production facility. So that is the idea behind tactical planning. Then operation planning is with respect to procedures and process, how. So to execute the plan. So whatever the plan has been made, they try to execute the plans through workstations in different departments. So this is more specifically saying it is detailed. So there are more detail about the operation planning, whereby the supervisors or you call them as a foreman. They arranges or engages the operational plan. So they are the persons who are at the executive levels, executory levels, and it is for a shorter duration, and mostly it focuses on the day-to-day activity or the routine activity of the particular organization. So it can be related to production or work schedules, or even talking about the arrangement of tools and machineries, all those things. So the lower level, like for example assemblers, clerk, or sales persons, they'll be coming under this operational planning level. Then when you talking about the classification based on time horizon, the time taken for. So we classify planning based on long term, medium term, or short term. This long term plan always is for a period of 2 to 5 years. And sometimes the tenure may be more than 5 years, it can be to 7 years or something like that. Here we always focuses on the goal setting. So whatever functional domains we have, we try to frame the strategies, what are the policies and programs are fixed over here, and it is more suitable for industries which are not being hit by the changing environment. So specifically because as I told you, it is for a longer duration, so they don't look into much of the environmental factor, changing environment factors. And it is mostly common in case of railways or defense or public utilities. Then medium term planning is it is between 1 to 3 years, and it also varies, the nature of varies, and with respect to business risk and uncertainties and market conditions. So when there is any technological development, they try to observe or adopt to such technological developments. And this medium term planning or more detailed and specific one. Short range planning is only with a limit of within a time gap of 1 year. These short term plans are more specific as the time is very much limited, and they are always in the form of instructions. So they give a detailed plan and they give the steps how to be done, or they give the details. What are the details? So here we talk about the example, as I told you, work scheduling or budget or quotas, like purchase quota or sales quota, or in case of how they're going to look at for the repairs and maintenance of the building or in the machineries. All these are with respect to examples for short-term planning. Then formalities. So when you talk about the next classification is whether it is following some formality, then planning is classified as a formal or informal planning. So formal planning, as the name states, it is a structured one. So it involves clearly what is to be done. So it tries to identify the order, sequence, or the steps one by one. The steps is being done. So here, when formal planning is done, it is with respect to responsibility, and they are already done. And this planning is more done for a centralized one, and it is a whole planning is done for a whole. It is in a process way. So there is a sequence of activity, and it is in a very structured way. So here if we have a documentation, execution, or all those things, so every employee knows it's a very much a formal planning is a structured planning. Then regarding informal planning, this is not a structured one. So it is an unstructured plan, and it is based on the events or evaluations or environmental factors also to be considered. So this formal planning is more suitable for larger companies, and informal planning is always for a smaller organization. Next one is a classification of planning based on the utility, how they are being used. So we have your single use plans, so budget, program, schedules, projects, and methods. And based on the utility, how much they are used. So as far as the budget is concerned, we talk about different budget. So as we know, budget is it is a pre-planned one or a prepared activity, and it is a single use plan where we forecast the result. So it is forecasted, the results are forecasted in the form of a quantitative term. So we try to express it in the form of money, like a material, sales budget, production budget, or money. So it is related to each functional areas. Budget, as I told you, it is for a future period. So we try to prepare the budget, and it is one of your best method to control the planning process. So budget. So we try to fix the standard performance, and budget is being allocated. Why this budget is more important is with respect to they fix the target. While they fixing the target, the responsibility is also being fixed. And as far as the budget is concerned, we have a financial budget and non-financial budget. So every year in India we prepare the financial budget, and regarding non-financial budget we can have the example of material budget or overhead budget, or sometimes we have the sales or labor budget. Next one is programs. So program is nothing but it is a blend or a mixture. It is a mixture of goals, objectives, or strategies or rules, even policies are taken into consideration for programs. What is being done is they try to plan. So it is quantifiable, and it is helpful to understand or identify what is the task to be done. So what is done in the program is it is laying down the procedure. So how we are going to do it. So we have a plan, and it tells us how we are going to achieve the plan, the program, how we are going to do it. So we have some sequence of activity, and based on the resources we drew, and programs are, for example, it is a pre-planned action plan. How? So that is with respect to thing. And we have when to start and when to end. That is with respect to programs. Then schedules. Schedule is nothing but it's like a time of work, how we are going to do it. That is like a timetable. What time, what we are going to do. So this is more specific with respect to when that is to be started, the task, and when, what is the ending time. So we have to have some components, and the main three components what is there in schedule is what is the task. So we try to identify the activity or the task what we are going to do. And sequence, so sequence of activity, and main focusing on when that is starting and when it is ending. So it is like a process of establishing a time sequence. So the work, we talk about the sequence of work, the work what is to be performed, and this program schedules are more in order to achieve the program. So how smoothly we are going to do the program, that is called a schedule. We can take that as it. So we in our college also we take the timetables or something like that. Then next one is projects. So when we have a large work to be done, so what we do is we try to have a subdivisions or a sub programs. So in this programs, sub programs, we call it as a project. What was done is in project, we try to cut down like a sequence of it, or that is we have a very big program, and that program is being done in a sub program way. It is called as a projects. So each project it is only for a temporary, and we try to have a time. So each project has a time bound. So time they will specify 1 month, 2 months, like that. That is more. And each project has their own mission, and they have their plan ideas, and it is connected with the total goal and time framework. Then methods is nothing but how we are going to do it. That is with respect to what is the task given, we know. So how we are going to perform the task. So with the considering the objectives, the facilities, what is being done, that is called as methods. Methods is how do we do, that is a standard way of doing things, and when we have follow proper method, it tries to enhance the operations. And these methods are only decided by having some research or analysis how they. So it is not like a thing. So this is methods are purely connected with the control process. Then multi-use plans. So this multi-use plans, we talk about objectives. So we know what is objectives. So whatever we are focusing at the end result. So these objectives, as we say, it is a goals which is being established in order to guide the efforts. So what are the efforts a company has to put in, and what are the components. So it is nothing but it is a standard which the organization can measure its performance or the results. So objectives are always goals, and they always aim what the management and administration wants to achieve. This is with respect to objective. In strategies, as we know the definition what has been given by Kunz and O'Donnell, a strategy is nothing but it is a plan. So this plan is made in the light of plans of the competitor. So what is done in strategies, how we are going to achieve it in a unified, in an integrated and a comprehensive plan of action. That is what has been done. So based on the objective or the set of objectives, how we are going to achieve it. So for example, we can even strategy how we are going to do it during this particular period. We have changed the teaching system, the strategy, how do we do it? Then regarding the policies. So policy is like, what is policy? So it is a general statements, what has been given. So this particular statement has come into existence based on the decision making. So always these policies are made at the higher level and it is being implemented. So policies are always in the form of written statement. So that is very, very important. And this policies, whatever is being framed should always be clear. It should be stable and it should be understandable. A policy should always be understandable and it should be easily able to observe these policies. So these policies are nothing but they are set of guidelines how we are going to do it. So this policies are focused on how it has to be formulated, how it is to be communicated, and how it is to be applied in an organization. The next one is procedures. So procedures, as we've been discussed, it is a method of interlinked method of doing. So it is a structured way how we are going to do it. So it is a series of interrelated sequential steps. It always we have some uniformity, the procedure. It tries to have a simplified work procedure, and it is having more focus on creativity, how we are going to do it. Then rules, as we know these rules are being defined. So these are prescribed directive which a people has to follow. So rules are always written, they should also be written, and they give us a specific instructions. Whatever they, so the in a specific instructions based on the guidelines what has been framed out. So in the given environment how we should act. So these rules cannot be broken. So they should be very much rigid. And this rules always focuses on the discipline. They cannot be biased, and each the domain can have distinct rule for themselves. And whenever rules are being broken, when we don't follow the rules, so it will be to be called as that is not following the rules or not abiding by the rules. So it is like a penalty will be levied, or sometimes it may be in government if we don't follow the rules and regulations of the government or some law, legal procedures, then we talk about it as an offense. So these rules are very much to be followed.